Ballmer.com. I wanted to talk to you today about Steve Ballmer, Microsoft, and the fact that Steve Ballmer has just sold $1.3 billion worth of his own Microsoft shares. Now, let me run through a couple of some figures for you here, let you get a general idea of what has gone on within Microsoft and Steve Ballmer's own personal shares. And then I'll read out a statement that Steve Ballmer produced as soon as he sold the shares. Once he sold these shares, he obviously knew that the tech media would get hold of this, people would be talking, a lot of speculation and rumours would be floating around, and so therefore I think he has thought that if he goes to the media, releases this statement, it'll kind of like put out the fire, so to speak. So Steve Ballmer sold 49.3 million shares that belonged to him, which was 12% of the shares that he currently held. In total now that leaves him with 358.9 million shares. Now each share was valued at $28. Now take that in itself, when you take into consideration that the Microsoft shares are valued at between $26 and $28, and only last month Apple's shareholders were having their shares valued at $300 a share. There's obviously a massive gap there. There's something. Now, before I go on with this video, guys, I am not in any way a stock market expert or anything at all like that. I really am not. But and please correct me if I'm wrong. But the figures, I know they don't always speak for themselves, but it is a pretty clear indication of the gap now between Apple and Microsoft. As far as I've always been aware, the value of a company's shares will be dictated to by the success of the company. So if the company's doing really, really well, then their share prices are going to be doing really, really well as well. So anyway, now, like I said, Steve Ballmer came forward with this statement because he'd sold 49.3 million shares, which equated to $1.3 billion. And this is the statement that Steve Ballmer released. Even though this is a personal financial matter, I want to be clear about this to avoid any confusion. I am excited about our new products and the potential for our technology to change people's lives, and I remain fully committed to Microsoft and its successes. Ballmer. Now, the thing about that is, right, there's an old saying that he does protest too much. Okay, so in other words, he's kind of flapping and he's trying to convince people too hard that there's nothing wrong at Microsoft and that this is just a purely personal matter for him. Now the first thing about that is, surely if he was worried about his own financial matters and that's what he's saying, you would only sell these shares if you feel that the company's doing so bad that the shares are going to start dropping in value further than what they are, and that for the time being, for the foreseeable future, this is the best price that he's going to get for these shares. And if it wasn't that, if that wasn't the reason he sold them, and it was purely just because he wanted to get his finances in order and try and do better, and not necessarily tax evasion, but be smarter with his taxes, surely he would move it around, move it maybe into the money that he's currently earning from it into a different banking system. I don't know, but selling them, I've always been led to believe that when people sell their shares, when people own shares and they're looking through the stock market and they're checking their value, if their values are dropping on a daily basis, people either sell them at the best price that they can get at that particular moment, or they gamble with the money, they hang on in there in the hope that the company is going to lift back up again, and therefore their share prices are going to lift back up again. So if that is the case, if that is what has happened here, that he has sold these shares because he feels that the share prices are going to drop because Microsoft isn't doing as well as what they should be doing, then I personally think that fellow Microsoft shareholders and also Microsoft users and loyal fans of Microsoft, long-term users of Microsoft, would have much more respect for Steve Ballmer if he actually came out in a press statement and said, listen, you know what, I've been at the helm of this company since Bill Gates left, I've made some mistakes, the company is in trouble, and I have a responsibility to make you aware of it and to get us out of this one way or the other. Now I know that would be a big gamble, because if he did that, shareholders would possibly panic and start selling their shares. And if they don't, and if that happened, then obviously Microsoft's going to lose a lot of money, and things could get worse. Or the other side of it is, if they were that loyal and stuck to the company, then maybe things could get better. Like I say, I don't know. I'm just kind of like firing ideas out there, but because I personally think that $1.3 billion worth of his shares being sold is a massive statement in itself. Forget about the statement that he came forward in the media and made. The fact that he sold those, for me personally, speaks more than any words he could give to a press conference. And the message that I feel he is given by selling these is, Microsoft is in trouble, our shares are dropping, and I'm selling my shares now at the best possible price. Now, granted, he hasn't sold them all. He's still got 358.9 million shares left, and the shares that he did sell, the 49.3 million shares that he did sell, was only 12% of his current shares. But that still only leaves him 4% of the company, 4% shares of the company. So, and you would think that's quite small. That's quite a small number for a man of his position within the company to only own 4%. I don't know. I just find that odd. It could be the norm. I don't know, but I just found it odd. And so people are quite rightfully saying in this video, you know, Harry, you're talking nonsense. You're making a mountain out of a molehill. He's only sold 12% of his shares. It's not like he's went out. Maybe if he went out and sold them all, that would speak obviously more about Microsoft's situation than just selling 12%. But when you take into consideration the value of those 12%, the amount of money that he's gained from that, $1.3 billion, it's a lot of money, and it's money that he could be, you know, obviously he's got a family, he's got other things he's got to keep, you know, take into consideration, which is fine, everybody does. I don't know. What do you guys think? I want to know what you guys think. And you know, you don't necessarily have to know about the stock market or anything to comment on this. Just the fact that he's gone out and he's sold all these off, and the statement that he's made, you know, saying that he got confidence in Microsoft's products. You know, he didn't need to say that. Up until that point, everybody thought that he had would have assumed that he had confidence in the products, right? I mean, to come out and say that, then I don't know. Like I said about the old saying, you know, that does protest too much. So anyway, guys, what do you think? Thanks very much for all your support. Thanks very much for watching the videos. Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter at iHarrison30. Don't forget also you can go across to techplanet30.com and join in any of the stuff that's going on across there. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks, guys. All the best. Bye.